Max Verstappen takes a fourth win in a row and a strong outing back at home, and the Mercedes car is also showing some very good pace going into the latter half of the season. Welcome to the Lights Out podcast. I'm Nick, joined by Ryan as usual, and let's get right into it. So, starting off with the obvious, Max Verstappen takes pole, wins the race. I mean, he had, a couple battles with the Mercedes that did not last too long, but, overall, it was another fairly straightforward race for him.
Yeah, another weekend, another straightforward race for Max. I think it brings him to 10 wins now in the season, and with 7 races to go, it would not surprise me to see him break Michael Schumacher's record of 13 race wins and Sebastian Vettel of 13 race wins in one season. It's clearly, like I've been saying all year, it's his year again. It's Red Bull's year again. So, yeah, not really too much to go, over from his race viewpoint. I mean, he had a couple battles with Lewis there that we'll talk about later in the race with the Lewis and George debacle. And yeah, it was just another great weekend for Red Bull.
Yeah, for Red Bull and really for Max, Checo, he ended up P5. He's bringing in points. He's keeping Red Bull at the top of the standings, but Checo did not have the same pace today. He just, he couldn't overtake Sainz towards the end there, and kind of sloppy.
Yeah, he's kind of been, I don't know, just his second half of the year so far hasn't been off to that great of a start. I mean, I guess he had podium in Belgium, but he was still light years behind Max there, pace-wise, too. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's just how the car's been developed, over the course of the season. Really, ever since Monza, I think Perez has just been kind of struggling with the car. I mean, he still had great results, don't get me wrong, but he just hasn't looked the same since the beginning of the year. He was really on fire and really looked like he could compete for the championship, honestly, but yeah, he just fell off a little bit, but I'm confident he'll probably turn it around here in the next 7 races or so.
I almost
yeah,
wonder
definitely
if,
off the pace this weekend again. Though, but
I almost wonder if he's running a higher wing, like a higher downforce, because you look at the speed on the straights, and he just doesn't look like he has the same straight line speed as Max, which is weird because they have the same car.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. Just looking at the times, even for qualifying too, though, is like he was about 3/10 behind in Q1, 6/10 almost, 5 to 6 tenths in Q2, and like another 2/10 in Q3. So I don't know what it is, if he's just not comfortable right now or what. But I think he'll turn it around here, especially next week at Monza, where it's just a really fast track, and that's something that suits Red Bull. So if he doesn't get a good weekend next week, and then we can probably start worrying like maybe it's just something off. But yeah.
But on other news, I'm gonna go with Mercedes. Let's go over there. What a weekend what a Sunday I should say from them. They had they're qualifying a little upended by Perez's spin. Some say Hamilton maybe had pace for pole, but then again, Mercedes was slow in the third sector all weekend. So who knows about that? But man, did they turn it around in the race.
Yeah, they look like pending the feels like 5 pit stops that everyone had today. Just was crazy at the end of the race. Lap 50 and on was just absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
But before that, it looked like they were actually going to be in position for possibly a 1-2, at least a 2-3 at least. And Verstappen would have had to pass Hamilton out of the pits, but just a plethora of things happened, and that never happened. But it was still a great race nonetheless by Mercedes. They really look like they found their pace.
Yes,
not only in qualifying but also race too. They're right back in it. They're a top 3 team. They have been all year, but they're really closing the gap fast. So it'll be interesting to see the next 7 races. We'll see if Russell or Hamilton can find a win, at least one win here this season.
I was not super high on Mercedes coming in this weekend. I didn't think they'd be this strong. I thought Ferrari would have been better. In my opinion, Mercedes is driving like they could be the second fastest car in a week or two. Just off pace alone.
Yep, I agree. Ferrari's pace is definitely taking a hit. Maybe it's the new floor regulations that went into effect. I don't know, but it's Ferrari. You really run out of words, to describe how their season's gone. It's just another day, another mistake. And it wasn't just one mistake; it was 2 or 3 mistakes today again. On Carlos says.
Carlos' side this time, yeah. And
his side of pit. I mean, alone, it's just I don't know what it is. I mean, I think Nico Rosberg too was talking about it. Even like it's Mattia continually comes out and says, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong, and continually something goes wrong, something goes wrong, something goes wrong, something goes wrong. So it's just there needs to be a change, and there's no sugarcoating it. This weekend should have been a 2-3, at least a two, at least a 2-3, and it's not. It's Sainz. Checo runs over Sainz's gun because one of the Ferrari mechanics leaves it, halfway into the freaking pit exit, so and then just unsafe releases. It's like they're not prepared, and I've said it 2 or 3 times now. I don't know what they're doing at Ferrari, but something needs to happen, like something big, really big. It's over.
Interesting part, I'll say there were 3 drivers who they're completely screwed over by strategy and whatever. I'd say Carlos Sainz, the very first one, Lewis Hamilton. I feel so bad for him. And then the other one was Mick Schumacher, which I don't think he got a lot of notice, but he had 2 pit stops by lap 35 with an average of almost 8 seconds.
Yeah. It's just another, same with Haas. I don't know what it...
And then
not a lot of people talk about that. But
too, with his engine failing. So it's the whole Ferrari family tree that are just
it's like
botching it all.
Seeping into everyone.
Yeah, and Sainz. I mean, let's continue on this. Like, first you
30-second pit stop, 38-second pit stop, I think.
Yeah, first you forget his tire. How? My question is, when you call a pit stop that far in advance, I mean, it wasn't like it was a late call. He was where he was supposed to be around the track, and then you go from that, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, we don't have the rear left ready. Like, come on. You're supposed to be one of the teams at the top. You're a historic Formula One team. How do you not have the tire ready?
It's management. It's management. It is, and they want to say that's not. It is. That's all it is. It's management. Something has to change. I'd be very shocked if something doesn't change next year. I really would be. Like, I'm sorry. I've been trying to, as a fan of Ferrari myself, it's been such a rough year. And like today, seeing Charles finish P3 was like a relief. Like, I feel like today was a good result because it's been such a down year. Like, that's only his 2nd podium in 10 races. Like, that's absurd. They have a title-winning car. There's no reason they shouldn't have at least been fighting for it this year, and they're just so far gone. It just feels like today. It feels like a P3 and Sainz P8. It's just like, okay, here we go again. But a P3 and a P4 finish today would have felt like a race win to me because it's just been such a debacle. So.
Well, the unsafe release on Sainz, that's inexcusable. Everyone's coming through the pit lane right now. You know what's happening. I understand trying to force it out and keeping track position, saying, oh, well, the McLaren was doing their pit. You got to plan for that. Well, first off, if you really need to, slot in behind Alonso. You've got a faster car. You should be able to pass, right? Or are they that worried that even Alpine, because Alpine looked quick too, because they were keeping up at the end there. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't know what to say anymore. I'm kind of over it. We still have 7 races to go too, which is the scary part. Is it's gonna keep happening. It really is. I think at this point, honestly, you should just put both Ferrari drivers out on hards and just have them do 1 stops the rest of the year, because I guarantee you there'd be less mistakes than running just a regular strategy. Like, going into the pits is disaster for Ferrari right now. That's the 2nd time I think that Carlos has had unsafe release this year. Maybe it was Charles one race too, but like it's the 2nd, and like the pit limiter last race for Charles, like it's never ending. It's never ending. So.
And the weird thing is, these are all small mistakes.
But they're big, but they're huge.
With huge ramifications. Yeah, it's like remembering the tires, watching release, sensor burnout, and not keeping an extra eye on your stuff going back last weekend. Strategy things, just like paying attention to the car GPS. Like, Ferrari, you got to clean it up. You're looking at Mercedes. I mean, almost every single team up and down the grid. I mean, I will say, in Ferrari's defense, there is one other team, McLaren. Nobody's talking about McLaren right now because everyone's talking about Ferrari, and McLaren's been horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, they're P7 this weekend, but their car this whole season has been slow. Their strategy has been all over the place.
Yeah. Really
But
looked like they were trying to, starting to turn it around, going into France. It really did. It looked like they were going to have, a better half, like going into this summer break, and then the second half of the season looked like it was going to be better, but it's just not there. It's not there, so it is what
they
it
were
is.
like,
But,
oh,
I mean, Norris P7 today, not a terrible result, but
helped
not
by
amazing
that
either.
penalty. And,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
McLaren did look, Norris, I should say not McLaren, but Norris. Norris looked better. I think Ricardo, it's probably a good thing they're getting rid of him. I do kind of feel bad for the way it is happening, but at the same time, it's hard to blame McLaren.
Yeah, it's just not there. It's not. I mean, 5 stops, I think he had a day.
It's
Which,
ridiculous.
honestly,
did,
to his credit, he had like 5 stops, and he still didn't finish last, which is pretty crazy. But granted, there was 2 DNFs, so
last
there's only
is
18
for
drivers.
Latifi,
But
man.
yeah,
So I want to quickly go back to Mercedes, the last lap. Safety car, Bottas. I noticed felt like they did like 3 or 4 laps before they got everyone packed up, which is fine, it's whatever. Made sense for the soft switch, but I got to go back because I feel terrible for Lewis Hamilton. Mercedes' strategy has been on point all year, always vying for team points, never really favoring a driver. And at the very last second, Russell goes, "Hey, put me on the softs."
yeah, and they listened.
And Hamilton was furious, justifiably.
As I think he should be. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not going to sit here and say Mercedes was going to win this race. I don't. It's tough. It's tough to say that. Max probably would have still passed Hamilton. Okay, fine, whatever. But like, you can't sit here and tell me that if you leave both of them out, yes, they're both on old mediums, but the thing is, they were like lap 5 or 6, right? Like Hamilton's mediums were like 6 laps old, which yes, okay. You have Verstappen pitting for fresh softs. Yeah, he might, he's going to have obviously more grip when they heat up here last 10, 11 laps. But pitting Russell screwed him. Like,
yes,
you can't tell me Russell wouldn't have been a buffer. Okay, maybe Max passes him right away, turn 14, just like he passed Lewis. Okay, maybe he does. But that still
gives
Lewis
a chance.
A tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths maybe, of time in the front of the pack with clear air to go around and get down to turn 1 and keep going. Okay, maybe Max would have caught him, but I don't think it would have been as easy. I mean, what they did today, it was just Max was around him by turn 14. Didn't even take the start line for him to pass Lewis. It is what it is, though.
Well,
I do feel bad for Hamilton. And not only was he going from second, vying for maybe a win, possibly a podium, then he drops down to 4th, So, yeah, it's tough. It's really tough.
It's a bit reminiscent of Ferrari and Silverstone hitting signs saying, "Sorry, Leclerc, you can do it. Good luck on you." But the other interesting thing is, since when in racing in general do you favor the driver behind? Usually it's always, Hamilton, you're in front, you get preferred strategy. You're the one, especially with the guy that they've won so much with, and it almost seems like Mercedes is just kind of like, whatever. If you want to make a tire call, sure, we'll go with it.
Yeah.
Why not? And there's the argument that both of them could have been swallowed up, but Hamilton only ended in 4th.
Yeah.
The worst case is a 3-4, but I still think it's at least Hamilton 2nd or 3rd.
Exactly,
I
at
could see
least.
Hamilton 2nd, because Leclerc barely got past him.
Exactly. It took him the last lap or 2 for Leclerc to get around and get in the podium position. So it's that's what I'm saying. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't have gotten 2nd or 3rd, or both 2nd and 3rd. It looked like Leclerc's chances of getting podium were gone, really, truly. But that debacle kind of helped him. So he just kind of left Hamilton in the water. Honestly,
I think it ends up at 2-4 still. I think it still is a 2-4. It's just Hamilton is 2 and Russell is 4.
Yeah.
And I think Russell kind of knew that. But it just, I kind of feel bad for Hamilton. He's done so much with Mercedes, and Russell's happy. But also good on for Russell for making that call.
Yeah, I mean, it was a personal decision, which is not. It wasn't the wrong decision. It's a selfish decision, but who cares? He's trying to fight for. He's a racer too. It's not. You shouldn't have to sit back. So I mean, kind of selfish, but you have to be in F1 sometimes. Otherwise he's in the water too.
But it's also every man for himself.
Yeah, exactly.
So moving down, Q3, going back to qualifying, we had some fun names. Schumacher got up in there, Stroll got up in there. I would have liked to think Vettel maybe even, that Aston Martin was showing some Saturday pace for once.
Yeah,
hats off to Aston Martin. Stroll gets his 5th P10 of the season, sorry. Yeah. So that's 4 points for him on the season. He was running P8 for a bit. I thought he was going to stay in that 5 second window of signs.
Yeah.
Oh, that was close. That was
Yep.
close. So
Yeah, he's continuing to show. I think I said 2 or 3 podcasts ago. He's continuing to show that he's right now as in an Aston Martin car, how they're configured and how they are as a team. He's like a top 10 driver. I mean, it's what he is. He's a top 10 driver of the grid. I said it earlier. I think he still is. 5 races in top
he's
10 now
playing
with an
well,
Aston Martin.
driving well.
I think it's pretty good, but there are probably people out there that think I'm stupid, but I think he's a top 10 driver. Just give him a better car, and I think he's vying for points every single weekend. So we'll see.
Well, and it's interesting because qualifying, he didn't get to run in Q3
Yeah,
at
exactly.
all. I think he's P8 in
Yeah.
qualifying. I think he beats both Schumacher and Tsunoda. Just
Yep.
not the pace he was showing. He was maybe even sneaking up past Norris.
Yep.
Who knows? But the thing is, you let him run there, and maybe he ends up higher in the points in the race.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's starting to become more and more obvious. I think everyone should be completely understanding why Alonso is going there in a multi-year deal. Sure,
Yeah,
Alpine's
exactly.
good
Him and
right
Stroll,
now,
honestly, could be scary. Honestly, it could be a scary duel.
but I mean, Aston Martin's showing they're a threat going forward. They're a threat to the midfield, not the front runners yet, but I think give them another year. Lawrence Stroll said he wants to be vying for a potential of a race win by 2024. Now I think that's looking more like 25, maybe a little bit later. But the thing is, Aston Martin is improving. They started the season dead last. They were the worst team on the grid. I would have taken Williams from over them, honestly. And now they're showing they've points however many races in a row now, and they're showing some serious pace. So it'll be fun to see what they do this last half of the season, or third of the season. Sorry.
Definitely improved a lot in the season, so that's always good. I mean, it's nice to see them up there. Vettel, I feel like, just he's been unlucky this year, so I'm not gonna.
But
Not
he
this
still
year
ended
as a whole. He's been
14th.
pretty good this year, but I don't know, just another race that didn't go his way. But yeah, as a whole, Aston Martin, I think another good weekend. So I'm not gonna say a great weekend, but it was a pretty good weekend for him.
Well, speaking of, we talked a little bit about Tsunoda. He made Q3. Hats off to him. He's looking a lot stronger, given an argument that he should be re-signed, I think. And he was having a very good race today, I thought. He was in the points. He was driving well.
P10,
And
P11 range, yep.
then kind of out of nowhere, he stops on the track, saying the tire's loose, yellow flag. No VSC or anything right away. Usually that's a pretty quick. They usually pull the trigger really quick on that. But he gets going again. His pit wall was completely confused. And he comes in, and I don't know if he was having a seatbelt issue or if they were making something with the car, but I mean, they were digging in his seat for 30 seconds?
Yeah, like a 40 second pit stop, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 31.9 or something like that. Something weird, which is absurd. I thought they were just going to retire the car right there.
Exactly, yeah, same.
But then he goes out, and I think what they say was a differential issue that popped up as after he got out of the pit lane. I don't even think he didn't even make a lap.
No, he made it about,
3 turns.
I don't know. I think it was the turn 1, a little after turn 1 still. I don't think it was really even, I'm pretty sure it was like turn 1. He stopped already.
Well, he comes out of the pits at turn 1. I think it was turn 4. He made it 2 turns. So because it was that banked left-hander at the end of sector 1. So that kind of riled the VSC. You saw people pulling the trigger. Max pits in, gives. Was that when he pit and gave Mercedes the track? No. They all pit.
Yeah,
everyone pit.
Hamilton pitted. Yep.
Which
Max pitted onto hards, and I think Lewis pitted onto mediums or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right. Which is interesting. I mean, we thought, maybe Mercedes didn't close up too much. I mean, they had a tiny bit more pace, but I think Max was just managing at that point. And then all of a sudden, Bottas trundling down. And I think it was overall a pretty good race, but the safety car definitely saved it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good race, I think. It was kind of wild the last 25 laps or so, 22 laps, but yeah.
Yeah, and, it's Gasly ended P11. Would have been kind of nice to see Tsunoda and finish the race without having those issues. I'm looking forward to seeing him next weekend. Obviously, Gasly may be gone, so right now you have to assume there's 2 seats in AlphaTauri.
Yep.
So nobody needs that contract.
Mm-hmm.
Another driver, Zhou, he's only 16th. I mean, I still think he'll be resigned, but not a good weekend for Alfa Romeo. But Alfa Romeo hasn't really done much the past few weeks, have they?
No, not since the beginning of the year, I think, honestly. I can't remember last time they had some good points. I mean, they started off the year so hot, and Valtteri started off the year really on fire. So I think it was going to be a really good year for them. Joe was showing pace. He was doing pretty well. It's just been one after another, like one race after another. I feel like it's either Joe or Bottas that are DNFing or just not getting out of Q1 even. And just, I think, did Bottas get out of Q1 yesterday? I think it's the first time he's not been out of Q1. Maybe I'm thinking about things, but it's like he has a streak of like 147
No,
races in a row.
He was
Or it's
16th.
Q1. 16th? Yeah, so like I'm pretty sure that streak snapped. It was like a unbelievably long streak. So it just hasn't been going their way. I don't know what the deal is. Again, it's a Ferrari powertrain unit and Ferrari kind of sister team. So I don't know. It's just same with Haas. It's just not been going their way.
Another driver I was impressed with was Alex Albon. He ended up P12 today, and they were saying going into this weekend they expected nothing because they're like, our straight line speed is good. We could do that with the setups, tracks like Spa and Monza and whatever. But here, everyone was like, no, we're not expecting points. We're not expecting anything. So I finished P12. I think that's a good result from the Williams team.
Yeah,
Latifi ended a lap down, but
yeah, he is.
I mean, in my opinion, if Albon is beating the Alfa Romeos and the Haas, it's a good weekend. Because if he can beat those two,
I agree.
And anyone else after that, good on him. He's doing a good job.
I agree. Albon's, again, just, I've said earlier in the year, too, I think he's proven himself again up and down the grid that he's a good driver. I think, again, I said it before, I think Red Bull was just too much too soon for him. But hopefully we'll see him in a top team someday again. I know, obviously, he just re-signed with Williams, so it's not going to be coming in the next year or two, but it'd be awesome to see him, competing in the top car again. I think he could do it. I'm not saying he's like a world championship or anything, but yeah.
I think he's having fun. He's putting in results, re-signed with Williams. I mean, we're seeing this older generation of drivers kind of start to phase out already. So, I mean, you have to think within, 4 years, you're going to see Hamilton, Perez, Alonso.
All gone.
Vettel's leaving this year. Bottas
probably will be gone. I mean, he might be gone this year, but he'll definitely be gone. I'd say in 4 years he's done, I think.
Yeah. Magnussen,
Bottas, I think, is getting there.
So thankfully we have this generation of drivers coming up that's fast, they're aggressive, there's a lot of good racing. So I think it's being passed into good hands.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. Schumacher, he still needs a seat. Haas in general, kind of like Alfa Romeo, they've been in a downhill slide lately. So P8 to P13, too many pit stops, too many mistakes. In all, I thought it was kind of odd this weekend. There were a lot of pit stop errors. Up and down the grid.
Yeah.
Even the top teams were slow
on the
stops.
shortest pit lane of the year, too.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just because the temperatures were a little cool or what it was, but very odd.
Yeah.
I think the fastest pit stop was, 2.5 seconds or 2 point...
I don't know who it was. Maybe Red Bull, maybe Mercedes, I don't know. But something like that, yeah. It wasn't very fast, though. I mean, 2.5 is still quick, but, we've seen, 2.2s and stuff like that. They can be faster, so I don't know.
Even Red Bull and Mercedes, their stops were... They had a couple 3.8 second stops and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, very interesting. I almost wonder if there were some sticky tires or, in Ferrari's case, forgotten tires.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, overall, good race. Alonso P6, Ocon P9, good race for Alpine again, double points. They were kind of solidifying. Great battle between him and Norris at the end.
Yeah, Alonso has 10 races in a row now. Only Max has more. 10 races in a row that he scored points. Max has 12 races in a row. So Alonso, he's on fire this year. I mean, just think if he wasn't unlucky. So.
Yeah, I think Alpine is a pretty set in stone fourth place team.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see who gets locked in for the next year, because next year I think they could even maybe take a little step further. Who knows?
Yeah. I think if Gasly gets there, I think they're going to have a good year. I think Gasly will, I think he's a great driver. Just give him a car that, put a car under him and he's going to excel now, I think. Also, I think another one of those drivers that was just, Red Bull was too much too soon, but I don't know. I could be wrong. We'll see.
Yeah, well, lots of driver shakeups coming soon. let's shift over to your driver of the day.
So Max won driver of the day today, and I've given Max driver of the day the last couple of races, and he probably should get driver of the day again today. As I'm looking at the driver of the day on F1 here,
Yeah, he won it there.
would still honestly, I know he got fourth, but I would still say Lewis Hamilton. I just think he had a great race today. I think he got a little gypped, but that's life. But I really think he had a great race. I think he could have been podium this weekend. So I'm going to go to, it might be a stupid driver of the day, but to me, I think he had a great race. So
he had a good race. A little bit undone at the very end there, but
yeah,
obviously showing his pace. I'm going to go with Fernando Alonso. He started P13, he had traffic in qualifying, ended P6. Helped a little bit by the sign stuff, but he almost got Perez at the end.
Yeah.
Overall, I think he's showing that Alpine has some serious pace. Great drive. Was at 7 positions he made up today. Overall, a lot more overtakes than people were expecting, I think.
Yeah.
Which is good. And I'm happy we saw that. So, yeah, I'm going with Fernando Alonso. And then constructor, I'll go with Mercedes, I think.
Yeah.
Mercedes,
I'd have to agree with that.
Just good pace overall. Putting a lot of pressure on Ferrari going into the final few races. They're only 30 points behind now in the standings.
Mm-hmm.
Good haul of points here.
I think how the season's going, they'll get P2. It wouldn't shock me one bit. I would like to say that Ferraris should be a lock for P2 in the constructors, but I don't think that's. It's just, I could sit here and talk all day about them. It's just not their year. It's debacle after debacle. So, and I don't want to dog them too much either, but it doesn't look like until something changes. I don't think we're gonna see a change really, kind of thing. I think Mercedes could be P2 quite easily. So.
And there's a lot of money on the line there. I think if Ferrari doesn't hold on to P2 this year and they don't make some serious changes in management, next year is going to be a tough year for them.
Yeah, I mean I think it's starting to look like they really missed out huge this year on a big opportunity. I don't know what's wrong with Ferrari. It's been this way for the last 15 years. I don't know if Michael Schumacher used up all their wins or what, but or their championships, I should say. I don't know, honestly. I mean, they're one of the most historic teams, and they've been like a midfield team really the last couple of years until this year. Like it's like unheard of.
They were close in the 2010s, 2014, that area.
I mean, yeah, they've had better over the years, and like they have been close, but just they haven't been able to get over the hump, and I just don't know what it is.
Yep. And I'm sure we'll see it eventually. I think within a few years they'll probably sneak one in there. But there's still some time left in this season for them to beat out Mercedes. We've got 7 races left. We are going to Monza next weekend. It's going to be a tough weekend for Ferrari at home, but we'll see how that goes. Then after the break, we're looking
miracle, I think.
Yep, and after the break, we'll have a doubleheader in Singapore and Japan. I think both of those will be fun tracks we get to return to. It's been too long since we've been there. So 7 races to go. Ferrari, Mercedes, that battle's heating up. It's going to be great. I think that's going to be down to the wire.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah, great down to the wire finish for P2 this year. It's going to be a battle of P2, P3, honestly, more than it is P1, P2. So.
Yeah. Well, we've got the battle between Ferrari and Mercedes, only a 30-point difference there. The battle for P7, Haas, AlphaTauri, and Aston Martin are only spread out by 9 points.
Yeah.
So lots of changes could happen down there. Alpine, McLaren, there's a 24-point difference there. So again, there's still a chance maybe McLaren can make a run at them. And then we have Max Verstappen, who's obviously trying to get the 14 wins in a season. He's got 7 races to get 4 wins.
Yeah, I think it'll happen. I think he'll shatter the record.
We'll see. It's close, and he's got 4 in a row. So if he were to, he needs 5 more to tie Vettel's 9 in a row. I'm not sure if that will happen, but you never know.
I would say. Yeah, I would say the likelihood of him winning 9 in a row is very slim, just because of how Mercedes has come on. I think Ferrari, just being Ferrari and having a fast car, they'll probably sneak at least 1 win in there somewhere. I would hope.
You would hope so. I think
so that leaves him 5 races to get 4 wins, and I think that's very doable. If Mercedes somehow sneaks a win in there, and Ferrari sneaks 1 more win in there, that leaves him 5 races to get 4 wins. I think he wins 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5.
My thing is, I think it'd be cool to see a new record some new records made. Obviously, Hamilton had he hit over 100 wins last year. That's kind of a cool record. I think it'd be fun to see Max get at least either the 14 wins or the 9 wins in a row. But at the same time, I'm happy for that to happen this season. The season's kind of already wrapped up, whatever. But next season, let's get potentially 6, 7 drivers getting wins again. I think I don't want to fall into. I like Red Bull, but I don't want to fall into this rut of one team dominating for years on end. We had Red Bull win 4 in a row, then Mercedes win 7 and a half, I guess, in a row, and now Red Bull is pushing in here. Even if Mercedes wins next year, I'd be fine with that. But let Alpine fight for wins. Let Ferrari steal some wins. Maybe even steal a championship at some point. I want to see some variety at least.
Yeah, so, it'd be nice to see variety. That's how I am. I mean, obviously, I would love to see Ferrari win a championship, but and I'm not the biggest fan of Red Bull. But it's just like, I don't know. After this, how the season's gone, it's just kind of expected that they're going to win, and that's really probably why I'm kind of being more of a half glass or glass half empty right now. It's just I don't see anyone stopping them right now. Maybe next year it'll happen, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I would have loved for Ferrari to win this year, but it's just not going to happen. And Mercedes, obviously, that's not going to happen this year. But next year, yeah, we'll see a new clean slate. But we still have 7 races to go this year. Maybe the apocalypse happens and Max DNFs 4 races. I don't know.
You never know.
But
you never know.
We'll see.
And you have, like Lewis Hamilton said, you applaud Red Bull. They've done such a good job developing their car, and hopefully other teams can match them going into the forward seasons. We've got until 26 for the new regs and some new teams, so maybe we'll get a big shake-up there. But I'd like to see at least 2 different teams win a championship before then. Get some variety going.
Yeah, I mean that's the same. I would like to see. I mean, if Red Bull wins 4 of the next 6, was it 2022? No, 4 years. If they win 3 of the next 4, fine. But if at least Mercedes or Ferrari can get one, cool. Mercedes or Ferrari can split with them. Maybe Red Bull wins 2 in a row here, and maybe next year. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. It's a long ways away. It's 4 years away still. So
if there is one team that's going to be winning, don't let them just walk away with it every year. If Red Bull were to win 5 championships in a row, and every single championship was down to the last 2 or 3 races, and every single championship you had 4, 5, 6 drivers fighting for wins, getting wins. Back in, I mean, they had that a little bit back in like 2010, that kind of time period. That'd be great. I'd love it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it. I mean, yeah, you couldn't be mad at that if that's the case. But if like Max is winning 110 points every season, like that's just kind of. I'm biased, obviously, because I'm a Ferrari fan, but I just think that's kind of, I don't know. It makes me feel some type of way. Just angry as a fan, but it is what it is. It is what it is, so.
Yep. Well, I think that's it for today. So we'll see everyone next weekend in Monza. We shall be back in our regular recording areas. So we should be able to get all 3 podcasts out. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we shall see you next weekend.